Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin Rogers, and we're here at Transwest Truck Trailer RV. Today, we're going to be going over a 2025 Newmar Mountain Aire 3825. So this is one of Newmar's luxury diesels. It's 38 foot long, and it's a tag axle, so you'll have a great ride and has a lot of great features in this small diesel pusher motorhome. We're going to start towards the front side of this motorhome, and we'll cover a couple of the features. So up front, you'll see a lot of black badging on this one. We ordered this one on with the Onyx package. What that does is you get a lot of black badging on it, black mirrors, and then there's also additional option for the black baggage door trim, and we'll see that as we go down the sides. This is equipped with Mobileye up front, so that's going to be your lane assist as well as your distance keeping whenever you're driving this motorhome. Down below here, you'll have a 10 kW diesel generator. We can't open it at the moment. Got to have the engine on, so the hydraulic pump is running, but it'll be controlled with a little electric switch down in here. In there, you can access your windshield reservoir, as well as a few electronics for the generator. And a Mountain Aire does include the window squeegee, so you can clean off that windshield, get the bugs off a little bit easier. Just one of those features that they do for you. While we're here, you will have blind spot monitoring. That'll be what these little bump outs for. And then if you work your way up on the mirrors, the cameras for left and right are actually integrated into the mirrors. So you'll be able to see a little bit further down the coach as well as further forward on that coach with those cameras, instead of being in 3 or 4 feet back like it is a lot of other motorhomes. So for 2025, they had a facelift on the front and rear. So if you're familiar with the Mountain Aires or their older styles of them, you'll get to see like the new changes they did with the lights and the fiberglass caps and everything. So when you get into the Newmar Luxury Series, the windshield wipers are actually tucked behind this fiberglass panel. So it just gives it a little bit cleaner aesthetic up front. We had an option with the flagpole bracket. So if you want to support your team, your colors, or whatever flags you can go for, you can put that there. The steps are going to be black as well, so that'll flip up and then suck in whenever you have the steps turned on and off, or if the engine's running. We do have this aired out right now, just to get the steps a little bit closer to the ground. Your grab handle is going to be black. You will have protective film all around the high traffic areas, so you'll have it at the foot plate, you'll have it at the entry door handle, you'll have it behind the grab handle. And what that's going to do is help protect you from keys, fingernails, anything of that nature. Designed door handle as well as a keyless entry with the doorbell, so you can use this to lock the entry door, unlock it, or lock and unlock the compartments from the exterior. So with the Onyx package, you'll have American racing wheels. So they'll be wrapped with Michelin 365/70s and 22.5-inch wheels. So it'll make for a very comfortable ride. Obviously, when you climb those higher tiers of diesel pushers, the tires get a little bit bigger, and it helps with obviously weight carrying and ride quality. So up in here, Newmar will have a steel thing. Since we have it aired out, it's a little tight for my hand to get into, but there'll be a steel plate up there to protect the gas line. If you ever have a blowout, you won't have to worry about filling or damaging that gas line. It is a dual fill, so you can fill it from either side of the motorhome. While we're right here, you can see Newmar's flush side. So Newmar is actually the inventor of the slide room in the Class A Motorhome. So way back in the day they did that, and then they've been perfecting it ever since. So the reason why they do a flush slide is you get less likely to have leaks, as well as a lot less resistance from the air, and it helps mitigate any wind noise. While we're still right here, this one was equipped with window awnings. It's a package that it comes standard on the Mountain Aire. So you'll have window awnings, one on this side, 2 on the other for the kitchen area, as well as one in the bedroom. You will have dual Girard awnings on the roof, as well as the Carefree awning, or the Girard awning for the door. So if a little bit of sun protection as well as a little bit of rain protection, but obviously close them whenever it's windy. In this first baggage door, you'll have a Dometic 12-volt 110 fridge. So it's got a 2-stage slide tray, so it'll come out far enough to you can get in this easily even when this slide is fully extended. It does have 2 zones in it. So if you want to have 1 fridge, 1 freezer, or both fridge, both freezer, however you want to do it, you can. In 25, they started putting these trays up here, so just get rid of that little bit of wasted space and allow for a little extra storage. So being in a 38-foot motorhome, any extra storage you can get on the outside is very important. So in this next bay, you'll have 2 ways. You'll have 2 doors that open side by side, so that way you get a little bit easier access to it. You'll have 2 motorized slide trays. So the push button is out here for each of them. So they only open on one side because you'll have a couple other features on the other side that we'll go over once we get over there. Down here in this bay, you'll have a few important things for the motorhome. So in the top, or in the left-hand side, you'll have all the electrical and the wiring all tucked away neatly. This makes it very easily accessible for technicians or any customer that needs to do a little bit of self-diagnosing on the road. You'll have a couple outlets to power your awnings. You'll have a slide room controller down here, as well as the controller for your 360 cameras. There'll be a little bit of cover plates for your 110, as well as the solenoids for the slides. Down here, you'll also have the canister for your central vacuum system that's inside. So you can hook up the hose out here if you want to clean the base, or if you wanted to just use it inside only, you have the sweep and the hose in there. In this next one, you're gonna have an outside TV. So in here, you'll have the TV with a sound bar, as well as a few outlets and USBs. So if you wanna have any outside entertainment, it's a good height for lawn chairs. When you auto level it, it'll obviously pick it up a little bit more, but also protect it underneath that compartment door. Help with a little bit of glares, depending on how you're facing. You'll have docking lights for if you're hooking up at night or if you're backing up, just to give you a little bit more view down here. That'll be the second set for the blind spot monitors. You'll have your drive axle. In between those, you can see the hydraulic leveling foot. You will have one on each corner, so it'll make for a very stable footprint once you're set up at your campground. So this one's 38 foot, but it is a tag axle. It is a steerable tag, so under 15 miles an hour, or if you're in reverse, it'll turn to prevent tire scrubbing, as well as make it a little bit easier on the motorhome when you're making those tighter turns, so you're not getting some excessive tire wear. Next one's going to be your def tank, as well as some air chucks. So what these are going to be for, if you ever have to manually fill any of your airbags, you can do it right here. It's mainly for emergencies only, but it's there if you need it. You can fill this def tank from either side. Once we get over there, you'll see another little inlet that fills directly to that def tank, so you don't ever have to worry about what side you're filling up from. Back here, you'll have chassis batteries. You'll have your 2 chassis disconnects. If you want to kill the power, you're storing it for the winter, or for us, whenever we're just storing them on the lot when we can't plug them in, you can have that. You'll have your water separator, as well as your air dryer. And then behind that steel plate, you'll have the exhaust down here. So we'll get a better look at that once we open the back engine bay. So down here, before we work our way up, the Mountain Aire is going to be on a Spartan K3 chassis. It's 525 horsepower. So on a 38-foot motorhome, it's absolutely a fantastic power to weight ratio. Down below, Spartan's equipped with safe haul. So what that'll be, if you're using an Air Force One, you can have that, any kind of air braking systems. You'll have your 7-way plug with a brake controller built into the dash up front. You'll have your receiver back here for towing, and then you'll also have prepped for the Voyager camera system if you ever want to do a stacker trailer. So as part of the blackout package, or the Onyx package, you'll see the black Newmar mud flap, as well as all the black badging that we've been seeing around. So it just makes it a little bit cleaner of a look. Back in this compartment, you'll get to see the Cummins engine back here. You do have the side mount radiator on this Spartan chassis, as well as a clutch fan for it. So whenever the engine doesn't need cool, that spins at a very slow speed or not at all, just so you're not having that excessive fan noise if you're sitting at idle or if you're having a high idle function going on. So there's not so much noise if you're having to sit around. You do have access to all of your fluids back here. Your oil, coolants, Oasis is all going to be back here. Anything that you need to access if you like doing your own maintenance, as well as, you know, easier to get to, check all your fittings, couplings, and all that. Up above, you're gonna have two cameras, or one camera, sorry. So that'll be your rear camera for backing up, as well as part of your 360 camera system. All right. Towards the top half of this, you'll see two vents up there. So that screened vent's gonna be your intake. So they do that up high and away from the ground, so it's getting fresher air and not any road debris. Helps keep your filter longer, as well as, you know, a little bit cleaner air for that engine. To the left of that will be your dryer vent for inside. So you have a stacked washer and dryer in there, and we'll see that once we get in. Over here, you'll see the side mount radiator, the door for the egress in the bathroom, the other fill station for the DEF, little metal storage compartment. So if you want to put your sewer hoses or tools, anything in here that's going to be messy, dirty, you want to keep out of the rest of your base, you can do that. There's little holes cut in there for drainage. So anything that can drip out, or if you want to throw, you know, stuff that you rinsed off in there, you can. So up above me, you'll see that window awning. You'll see both of them. That one's for the bedroom, and then the other one will be for the living area behind the recliners. So this next bay is going to be your water bay. So there's a couple cool things in here. They have the built-in tower, paper towel holder, as well as hot and cold outdoor shower. The hose on the freshwater hose on a power cord reel. Your dump station's all going to be here. You have the RV SantaCon, so it acts as a macerator, and it can pump it uphill if you're at an incline whenever you're trying to dump it. Your water pump's going to be located down here, so if it ever bursts, the filter cracks or anything, or it stops working, it's very easy to get to. This bay will be heated and enclosed. Most of Newmar motorhomes are meant to be as four-season as you can get. That way you can do a lot of extended camping, or if you want to be snowbirds, you can travel all around. You have the cutouts down here for the sewer hose, as well as a cutout for your freshwater hose, so you can keep this compartment door closed. On each of these valves, they're going to be clearly labeled, so you can't mistake what they are. You have the whole house water filter here. Black tank flush is going to be here, as well as all your different low point drains and where you're directing your water flow. You'll have a touch panel down here that'll kind of act as a main panel, just like the ones on the inside. You can see all your tank levels, you can control the water pump, the generator controls, and a lot of other features from this panel. So you don't have to worry about running inside if you forgot to turn the water pump on when you're trying to do something out here. Use the outdoor shower to rinse out that sewer hose. So one thing that's cool with this, so this is a full wall slide on it. One thing that Newmar does is, as we close this, you'll see it pop up. And what that does is make sure you have that clearance from the slide, because this is on essentially like an elevator type system. When it comes all the way out, it lowers down so you can get a flush mount floor. And we'll see that once we get inside. In here, you're gonna have a 50-foot, 50 amp power cord on a power cord reel. So you'll pull it out, you'll put it in through the slot, that way you can have this compartment door closed, and then it's as simple as pushing the button and having it reel in. You will have cable inlet through here, or satellite, depending on what you need it for. You have a built-in surge protector in there, as well as an automatic transfer switch, just to help protect your coach if you ever have lightning strike or dirty power at a campsite. Just one more precaution so it doesn't get very costly if there's ever some kind of electrical incident. The next bay is going to be on the other side of those two slide trays that we saw. You'll have your Oasis Chinook on here, so that's going to be your hydronic heating. That will be for continuous hot water, as well as your furnace. So if you ever, you'll have two zones in there, so you can control front and rear on it. You can use this via diesel burner or 2 electric elements, and you can toggle how they're turned on based on what systems you need to use based on what you have access to at that moment. The next bay is going to be your electrical bay. So this one was equipped with 960 amp hours of lithium as well as 2 inverters. So one inverter is going to be designated for an AC, so you could run an AC going down the road without having a generator on. The second one's going to be for fridge, microwave, and a lot of your outlets. The 960 amp hours is an absolutely massive lithium package. It'll let you do a lot of boondocking if you need to before you have to turn your generator on to get it recharged. This will be the other side of the fuel fill that we saw. And the last compartment up here that we started with will be your generator compartment. So you'll have a lot of your electrical in here, some spare fuses, the switch and the hydraulic release for opening and closing the generator, and obviously the squeegee that we talked about a little bit earlier. So we're gonna work our way inside. Once we get in to the entry door, there's a couple little storage spots in the steps that we'll look at. I'll kind of stand out of the way so Jody can see them. One's kind of a shallower compartment, and then one's a super deep compartment that goes all the way down to the same height as the other one. You'll also have an integrated step cover that's the same material as this, so when your passenger is sitting over here, they can let it out and raise it up so their feet don't dangle if they don't want to use the footrest. On this left side, once we get in, you'll have the main battery disconnect for the house as well as the baggage door unlock. So that'll be the fastest way to open and close those compartments if you don't want to get your keys. And if you're also just storing the coach, you can kill the chassis battery back in the back that we saw, as well as hitting this house disconnect, and then everything's shut off. So you don't have to worry about your systems dying. So we'll cover a few things while we're up in the front. Right now you can see what this looks like with it closed. So it was optioned with the booth dinette as the theater seat, so it makes it a little bit narrower here, but it's still very easily sidestepped. Where you have a lot of the smaller diesel pushers in this market, you'll have the couch and the theater seating actually touch to where you're trying to fight your way through. So even with this fully closed, there's still a good gap. Your bathroom that you use will be the half bathroom. So that'll be the best one to get to whenever you're traveling, but if you ever want to lay back and take a nap, you still can get back to the bedroom. All right. So now we're going to fumble our way back through the front and open up the slides. So both of these will be hydraulic slides. The passenger one's going to have your booth dinette in there, as well as your fridge and your pop-up TV. The driver side slide will be your full wall slide, which really opens up this 38-foot motorhome. You'll have recliners in it, your kitchen, as well as your pantry and your wardrobe for your bedroom. So one of the first things that we'll cover will be up here in this main control panel. You'll have your OnGuard satellite as well as your awning controls in here. So these will control all of your Girard awnings. They are 110 awnings, so you want to make sure you have your inverter on or your generator on in order to use those. You'll have the window awnings that we saw outside. The main controls for the controls for the two up front are going to be right here. You'll also have your security lights for the driver and the passenger side. And then these privacy drapes are going to be your blackout shades for the front half of this motorhome, or just the front section, I should say. Your slide room controls are going to be up above. Your light, exterior lights, Wi-Fi router are all going to be here. And then a main power switch to shut off your lithium batteries is going to be up here as well. This one was optioned with Starlink, so you'll see that with that white box up above, as well as a couple outlets there if you need to plug in any more electric accessories. To the right of that, you'll have your front overhead TV. And then around these front compartments, you'll have little bits of storage here and there. So we'll work our way around on each of those. Up here, you're gonna have the controllers for your Girard awnings. So if you ever need to manually calibrate those or bring them in when that remote, if anything ever happens to that remote, you can do it from these white boxes. So while we're on this passenger side, and Jody's standing back there, so it's a little easier to see, there's a couple different things that we can see. So Newmar recently integrated a ceiling light switch right here. So usually, it used to be where the only way that you could turn on the lights was going back to the main control panel and you turn all the lights one by one. You can hit this ceiling light switch and it'll turn on all the ceiling lights in the front half of the motorhome. That way you're not fumbling through here in the dark. This one was ordered with the passenger monitor. So this monitor will control everything in the dash from the passenger seat that the driver can control. So once we get to the chassis towards the end of this video, you'll see a lot of the same features. So once we go through here, hard to press upside down, you can see all those different things. You'll have visor controls, the step cover controls, and a wireless charging pads here. And then back behind the seat, you'll have an outlet with USB and USB-C. So this chair, with the Mountain Aire, you'll have, this was the extra wide passenger seat. So anybody likes traveling with a pet, an animal, or a larger person, you can be a little bit more comfortable in that larger chair. And with when you're in the Newmar luxury diesels, you're gonna have a lot more comfort in that chair. So you have lumbar adjust, heated seats, adjustable headrests, foot props on both of them, even the drivers when the engine's off. So if you wanted to be more comfortable when that's turned around in a captain chair, that you can be. So now we're gonna work our way through the living room. So you will have 2 recliners in this specific unit, how we optioned it. You'll have a giant deep cubby down below, a sliding tray. So if you want to, store large things, a bunch of blankets or any extra bedding, you can have it down there. They are electric recliners, so you'll just hold a button to bring them in and out. They do go pretty low, so if you're one that likes to take a nap in a chair, you can. There's cup holders, there's lights, as well as USB built into that cup holder. So if you want to charge your phone without having to reach behind you to get to one of the outlets, you can. So while we're right here, this will be one of the first of many of your main control panels. So when you hit this home button, you'll have access to a lot of the different commands that this system has. You have all your shades, your fans, systems, monitor panels, and then the display brightness if you want to have this a little bit darker, as well as your lights. So you can go on each of these lights and then you can adjust the brightness just by sliding them up and down. So if you want to make them dimmer or brighter, that you can, or just simply turning them on and off. So there's a little bit of storage up above the recliner. So you'll have two larger storage compartments and kind of an AV compartment. So this compartment back here is going to be tied into the TV that's across. It is on a lift. So if you're one that wants an extra TV in the living room or across from the recliners, you can use that. If you're not one that wants the TV right there, with the lift, you can simply just lower the TV down. And then have an extra big bay window right there. So on this side, you'll see another storage compartment, one on each side. You have a little bit of a false panel here, so if you wanted to store a couple little things back behind this, you can. You do have a Bose sound bar that's tied into that TV, as well as a few more of these control panels. So you're getting the idea where you can control most of this coach from anywhere you're comfortably sitting. That makes it that much easier. So with this booth dinette, it can seat 2 larger people here pretty comfortably, or 4 smaller people. But if you're one that just wants to have the ability to bring extra guests, you can. So there are 2 leafs under the bed that you would insert right here, as well as 2 folding chairs that are under the bed. So you can make this seat 4 really comfortably, or cram 6 people if you really need to. All right. Down below the booth, you'll have little small storage trays. They're not super deep. They are a little bit longer, but every nook and cranny matters, especially in this size of a motorhome. So next section, you're gonna have your residential fridge. You'll have a lot of Whirlpool appliances in here. So you have 2 drawers down in your freezer. Give you a lot of storage there, as well as the true French door fridge style up here. Up above, you'll have a little bit of storage, spices, anything you need, just whatever you can put up there. In the living room / kitchen area, you're gonna have the smoked mirror in here. That's gonna make it a little bit brighter in here without being too intrusive, as well as not just be a blank wall. So they do the smoky color just so it makes the room feel a little bit bigger, but without being too much. Down below it, you're gonna have the central vacuum system. So this one will be for the foot flap. Or the kick sweep. Flip it up, sweep the dirt into it. There you makes it really easy to clean there. Or if you get into nook and crannies, that hose that we saw underneath, you'll stick it in there, and then you can reach from one end of the motorhome to the other just from the central location here. Next section we're going to cover is going to be your kitchen area. So this is your pantry. It is a much wider pantry than a lot of the other motorhomes. They are pull-out shelves. So you'll have 5 pull-out drawers. They're at a little bit varying heights. That way you can have larger items or taller boxes in each of them. Down below, you're going to have adjustable, I guess sleeves is what you want to call them. You can put pots and pans in here upright or anything else that you need to. And you just pull these out and move them around based on what you're trying to fit under here. And they do that so it doesn't rattle around as much. Down below here, you're going to have 3 large drawers. So all of Newmar stuff's going to be soft close, so that's going to help make it a little bit quieter and feel a little bit more luxurious like you have in here. So you have the Fisher & Paykel dishwasher. To open it, you have to turn it on, and then it just freely opens. So you can picture that kind of as a travel lock for the dishwasher, so it doesn't just pop open whenever you're cruising down the road. Utensil drawer here. Right now we have it for all the stuff that comes with the motorhome when it's new. Touch-up paints, all the TV remotes, another Girard awning switch, and a lot of the wires and tools for the motorhome. While we're still over here, you'll have an adjustable shelf here. So if you want to put taller or shorter things in there, you can kind of fit whatever you need. You'll have an air fryer microwave. You'll have an induction cooktop, because again, all electric coach, there's not even a propane tank mounted on this. With Newmar, typical Newmar fashion, even in the higher end stuff, it's a removable induction cooktop. So if you're one that wants to cook outside, you can, or if you need a deep clean, you can. With induction cooktops, how they work is they'll boil water really quickly, but essentially it uses magnetic pans to work. That way the cooktop surface never gets hot. It's only the pan that's actually getting hot. So the easiest way to test that is anything that a magnet will stick to, or that pan will work on the induction. So this next section is going to be a very, very large kitchen sink. So if you want to store dishes in there, you want to have a big wash basin, or if you're one that wants to let a lot of dishes soak, you can do that here. The other thing that you'll notice behind this kitchen area is this big bay window. I'll just hold this up for now. This was an option for the Mountain Aire. It's not a standard feature, so we just wanted to get every little bit of natural light in this unit that we could. Up above, you're going to have 2 drawers. So right now you have the box for Starlink, and then you'll also have the big box for the owner's manuals. So Newmar sends you with the full package. A lot of light reading for you if you want to go through that. Stuck to the walls in this one, you'll have the weights of the motorhome as well as the cargo carrying capacities, so they make it pretty easily accessible, whereas a lot of other manufacturers will kind of make it harder to do, and you kind of have to do the math. They want it to be very obvious what you can do with this motorhome and what the potential capacities are for it. On this left side, you'll have a contact number. If you ever need anything, you'll have the length of the true length of the motorhome here, as well as the color codes if you ever need to get paint made or touch-up paint. Down below this, you have a little spice rack or a sponge tray, whatever you want to put here. You'll have 2 pull-out trays again, one with a little trash can for the kitchen, and then just another one to make it easier to get in here. And then one more little cabinet. It's taller towards the bottom if you want to put cutting boards and stuff down there, as well as a little drawer on top. So even with these little drawers, you can see the dovetail woodwork that they do on these, just to make sure you're keeping that high-end finish throughout the motorhome. Little thing that they did, they glued a piece of the countertop on here just to act like a little water barrier, so you don't have it trickling down the side, getting on the cushions, or down the walls for the wood. Down below that, you can see the tile floor, and as well as the flush mount floor. So there's not carpet in this unit anywhere. You'll have the tile throughout. The heated floors are connected to that tile floor as well, so even you won't have any cold spots. So one of the things that they do that's unique is heated floors. You have 3 different zones for it: the front, the bedroom, and the bathroom. And then they tie in the engine hatch cover as well as the slide room floors in there too, because obviously that's still a lot of surface area for tile, so you don't want the rest of the floor to be warm and then that still be cold spots all the way throughout. So we'll cover the silver leaf panel as well as the half bath right in this middle section. So the home panel is going to have all your different capacities, what your batteries are at, how many amps are pulling off of each leg of power, and the voltage coming from them. You'll also see the date, the time, as well as temperatures. So if it's hot outside, you'll be able to know before you head out there. Your AC power, it'll show you what's, where your power is going, what's on. You can turn your inverters on here if you don't want to run your generator. That way you have 110 power still. DC power, it'll show the status of your batteries, if they're charging, if they're solar charging, if they're set up for absorbing, and how many amps are currently going to them. The generator tab, you can manually start and stop your generator from here, or the push buttons up towards the front. You can also set up your auto gen controls from here. And you can do that via temperature or battery voltage, depending on what your needs are for that. Water systems, you can turn on and off your water pump, as well as topping off your freshwater tank if you're hooked up to city, and you can see all your different tank capacities here. Climate controls, so on a 38-foot Mountain Aire, you have 2 15K ACs with heat pumps, so plenty of heating based on the insulation level and the Newmar and the size of this motorhome, because some of the 40 and 45-foot motorhomes will still only have two 15K ACs. In this, you can choose between your living room, your bedroom, and you can have that set up on heat or cool, or auto if you want to have, if there's big temperature swings like there is in Colorado. The bathroom can have its own designated heat, that way you're not just having a cold bathroom while the rest of the coach is comfortable. Block heater you can turn on and off from here. Batteries will show you the status of your batteries. You can program how much lithium you have in, how much volts and amperage is going to each of them. Coach mode, you could set up how your coach is and what is turned on pretty quickly by setting up these different modes in the camper. We just kind of leave them at a blank canvas for now, so it's easy and we don't have to mess with them all the time. Floor heat, you can have your 3 different zones here, so you can choose how they're on, how long they're on, and how much heat they're putting out, because it's on and off and they're set on timers. So if you have the floor heat running for a while, you can warm up this whole coach without ever having to turn on your ACs, or your heat pumps, or your hydronic heating. The light controls, it'll be the same thing we saw in each of those, just on a bigger screen format. So you can turn all of them on from here or dim them. Shades and TV lift, that's going to be your TV lift down at the bottom, as well as all your different day and night shades. So they're all motorized. And then vent fans, you'll have 3 of them, 1 in the kitchen and then 1 in each bathroom. So even though this is 38 foot, you still have a bath and a half. So it's a very good floor plan for that. Next section we're going to cover is going to be the half bathroom. So you do have an opening window in here. They are frameless windows, so it has a much cleaner look outside. Porcelain toilets as well as electric flush. The same countertops that are in the kitchen, and you'll have matching bowls between the bowl in this half bath and the bowl in the main bathroom. In here, you'll have a little bit of storage. You'll also have a lighted vanity mirror as well as a medicine cabinet behind it. This one will be a fun one. So behind here, you'll have electrical. So this will be the main breakers for the coach. You can see all your different breakers, fuses, then the resettable GFIs for your floor heat. You can't see it, but there's another touch panel in here. So if you ever forget to turn the water pump on and you're dry camping, you can turn the water pump on from the bathroom, so you don't have to have someone turn it on for you, or get up and go find one. So that's never fun. And you can control all your light and shades and fans from in here as well. So that's the half bathroom. In between the living area and the bedroom, you're gonna have another pocket door. So you'll have a big gap down at the bottom as well as a smaller gap at the top. So they do that for ventilation, so you're not getting any place, you know, colder or hotter than the other, and you're getting a nice even airflow. With this one, you'll have a third slide back here in your bedroom. So this one's gonna be for your bed slide. It uses the big cog wheel that Newmar is known for, so it moves in and out nice and slow. It's very low geared, but it's very efficient and very robust. So less likely to have slide issues. So we'll start with the bed. You do have a king bed in here. Newmar sends you with a bunch of decorative pillows and the gray wallboard to match to make it a little bit aesthetic, but as always, make it your own. You'll have opening windows on each side of the bed as well as across from the bed, so if you want to get some ventilation in here without having to use the ACs, you like the nighttime air, you can do that. We'll start with under the bed for now. So in here you'll see those two leaves that we talked about and those two chairs. So that's how you get that extra space at the booth dinette. And if you don't have guests, you can just feel free to leave those at home. That way you'll have some extra storage. You'll have essentially some nightstands on both sides of these. You'll have storage down below, as well as outlet with USB-C and USB-A down there. So this is almost large enough to put a CPAP here if you need to, but up above they do have an outlet as well as a designated cutout on the left and right side. So if you want to put the CPAP up above, you can do that as well and then drop the hoses down through. On the other side, it'll be the same thing, just another storage compartment. It is felt lined up here, so less likely to rattle around or things slide around while you're driving. And then another little cutout. Up above, you're gonna have another main touch panel, so you can, again, control all of your lights, your generator, all your window shades, water pump controls, all of that from your bed. So if you get in bed, you get cozy and everything, and you realize you'd left a couple of the lights on, you can just turn them all off from there, and you don't have to get out and go to the main control panel. Same shelf on the other side, as well as another cabinet down below. And there's an outlet in there as well. So the next section in the bedroom is going to be all your storage. So you'll have hanging storage on both sides. They have a little chain limiter on the tops of these, so you're not whacking the cabinet door into all the walls. So just one of those things that Newmar thought of to promote the longevity of their unit. You'll have drawers. You'll have 5 drawers and one little AV cabinet drawer down here. This one is on that extended slide like we saw down below. That way you can get stuff in and out and not being impeded by the cabinets up above. More countertop carried into the bedroom, as well as an emergency exit window in here. So you can use this as a ventilated window if you just want to prop that out and get some good airflow. So 2 larger drawers. And then more hanging storage in here. So last actual drawer down here. And then the top one, you'll have the adjustable shelf for any of your electronics that you want to tie into that TV. So right here on this panel, so there's a couple switches back here. This is how you control that bedroom slide. They separate all their slide controls, 2 in the front and then the bed one in the rear. That way you can actually have your eyes on the slide room and you're not just guessing that everything's out of the way. You can actually see it, so you don't have to worry about it. Another main control panel down below, again, can control everything that you can on the Silverleaf. And then this awning extend and retract is that third window awning that we saw that's outside this bedroom window, just to help block out a little bit more light and a little bit more heat, especially in the summertime. You'll see another smoked mirror here in the bedroom. And then you'll also have another pocket door here. So on the other side of this pocket door, there's going to be a full-sided mirror. So once we get into that bathroom, we'll close it up again so you can see it. In the bathroom, you're going to have a little step up. The reason for that is since this is a 525 horsepower motor, it's a very large motor, and it's hard to make a flush mount floor back into here. So they pushed that into a spot that actually makes sense to have a transition is up into the bathroom. So it's a little bit easier to remember, where some of them will have an actual step up closer to one side of the bed or the other, halfway through the bedroom. They did it at a, recognizable transition point here. So in this back bathroom, this is going to be the master. There's a couple different things that we'll cover in the corner. Again, you'll have a nightshade here. You'll have a removable valance if you ever need to get in and out of here with the egress. The egress door, I have it unlocked already. You flip it open. Obviously, it's easier with the shade up. There's a magnetic panel here, and there's a flip down ladder right there. So if you ever need to get out in a hurry and you can't make it to the front of the motorhome, you can use this. And it's not super high off the ground, so if you're still younger, you can just jump out of it. But obviously, the ladder makes it a little bit easier. Another porcelain toilet with electric flush. Toilet paper holder, easily accessible. You'll have another cabinet over here. Again, as much storage as you can get anywhere you can get it. You'll have a cathedral ceiling when you're in the Newmar Luxuries. So if you look up, the ceiling's actually rounded, and whereas the rest of the coach, it's flat. So it just gives it that much more of an open feeling and a little bit bigger. It's spacious in the back bathrooms. Over here, you'll have the stackable washer dryer. They do operate off of 110. So the dryer takes a little bit longer because it is 110 and not 240 like a household. Same countertop carried into the kitchen as well as backsplash throughout, so that way you don't have to worry about damaging any of your wood. Bigger bowl than in the half bathroom here, and as well as good headroom, so if you need to get down, wash your face, brush your teeth and stuff, you don't have to worry about hitting your head on the cabinets. Towel rod right here, or wash rag. Another master panel right here, so if you need to control anything in the back bedroom, you can do that as well. You'll have a double-sided vanity here, and it opens from the middle. Again, chain limiters up there, so you don't have to worry about smacking the glass on other things or the cabinets. You'll have an outlet back here. On the left side here, you'll have another hanging wardrobe and a safe mounted behind it. Down below, you'll have a cubby. So if you want to use that as a dirty clothes hamper or just more storage, you can do that. In the drawers, you'll have 2 more drawers down there. They are kind of deep, so just more nooks and crannies to put stuff. Down below the sinks, or the sink, you'll have a few big drawers and a big cabinet. And obviously in your cabinet, you'll have access to your plumbing from underneath your sink and stuff, as well as some more storage. Your shower is going to be a corner shower in here, so we'll open that all the way. So it is optioned with the seat, so if you need to shave your legs, sit down to shower. If you're a little bit older, you can do that. It is an adjustable shower head here. They do mount the body wash, conditioner, shampoo things already in here for you, so it makes it a little bit easier. You can just fill them up. It does have the shower miser system in it. That way, if you are dry camping, you can recirculate your fresh water back into the tank while it heats up, and you're not just filling up your gray tank and wasting your fresh water. You do have the in-tile drain. That way it's flush. Makes it a little bit cleaner look, and as well as something you'd expect in a higher end motorhome. So, and it is a swinging glass door, and it is rather large. I'm 5'9". I'm still standing clear under that, but if you need to be a little bit taller and use the wand, you can. So that will pretty much cover the master bathroom. The last thing that we're going to go over is the ceiling package that's in here, as well as the chassis features. So since we got up back to the back, you can look up at the ceiling. Newmar puts all of the intakes and the exhausts down the center of the ceiling, so that way you're still getting even cooling even when the slides are closed, and you're not just cooling the tops of the slides, especially in the summertime, and not cooling the whole coach. You will have soft touch throughout. You'll have little LEDs throughout of it. So the soft touch helps with sound deadening as well as insulation. So right now we have the generator on and the ACs are cycling on and off, but there's really no ambient noise. You can hear the hum of the generator a little bit vibrating from up there, but nothing you'd hear back in the bedroom. So the last section we're going to cover up here is all the cockpit controls. So it is push to start in the Mountain Aires. So you'll do that and then you'll hold it just to start it up. The rear hatch opened up. So on this right side, you'll actually have your camera controls. You can choose which cameras you're seeing back here, or you can choose to see the 360 cameras and see everything that's going on around you. You can cycle through them based on your needs, but this one will always be designated to camera. In the different menu, you can see radio, media, Sirius XM, Bluetooth, HDMI, Mobileye. You can mess with all those different controls in here. You will have built-in navigation. So it is an RV GPS, so it'll have height and weight and length all programmed into it. So it'll take you places that you can go, and you won't ever have to worry about being stuck somewhere that you can't go and having to back up a few miles, especially if you like traveling in the Northeast. That's a very important feature for there. Dash controls are going to be down here. The same standard car controls, turning the fan on and off, AC, recirculate, as well as the temperature and where the air is blowing. Your different visors and shades are all going to be right here. So left, front, and right side, as well as the shade. You have an entry door lock switch here. This is the second place that you can turn on the generator from inside. Your courtesy lights are just going to be entry door lights. Dock lights are outside. Overhead fans are for defrost. High, medium, and low, you can choose that. And then there's also a battery boost system for the chassis in the house. So that'll link both groups of batteries if you kill one or the other in case of emergencies. That way you're not just stranded wherever you are. On the steering wheel, you're going to have home buttons and some controls that are going to control the digital display up here. You'll have volume and source buttons that are going to control the radio off to the right, as well as Bluetooth controls and windshield wiper controls on this left-hand side. With it being a Spartan chassis, you'll still have that panel off to the side where you can control your gearing, whereas Freightliner has it all on the column. Your cruise control settings are going to be on the stick like they used to be. So you just do on and then set them. If you want to do a high idle function, you can do that like we're doing now since we're just parked and sitting still. You'll have a lot of different gauges on your dash. You can see coolant temperature, fuel, oil pressure, the pressure in each of your ping tanks, as well as your depth gauge in here. You can go through a bunch of these settings and choose what else you want to have on here. Obviously speedometer and stuff's important. You have different air leveling controls that you can do in here. Right now we have it all aired out just so that step was a little bit easier to get into, and we're sitting on the frame and not the bags. You can control all the brightness, any error messages, settings, trip info, and then the tire pressure settings are all done in here. A lot of the time when it's been sitting a while, you just need to recalibrate those, so it's pretty easy to do, and you don't have to actually go to the dealership to do that. Integrated brake controller is going to be here. You can adjust the gain from it there, so whenever you press the brakes on your motorhome, it'll press the electric brakes back there. On this left side, you'll have your window controls, because you do have a power opening window, traction control override, your air horn, your automatic high beam controls, dome light, which is just a map light above my head, the brightness of the lights inside, as well as all your different lights for outside of the coach. Your mirrors are going to be electric, so the top portion's electric. They do have an electric defrost in them as well. Parking brake's going to be over here, and then your driver wireless charging pad is going to be right here. That way you can still kind of see it if you ever need to glance down at it, but it's, you know, out of the way and not obstructing your view of the motorhome. On the left side over here, you're going to have your keys, obviously with the cargo, the entry door unlock, as well as the cargo unlock, as well as a bunch of the keys that you need and our fob for tracking them. Your engine brakes are all going to be here, so if you have high, medium, and low, because it's a true engine brake, not an exhaust brake. Your tag dump is manual. Disable it or automatic. That way if we just throw it in reverse, it'll air out that rear tag. Or if you start making tight turns at low speeds, it'll air it out as well. The controls for the Allison transmission are going to be here, reverse, neutral, and drive, as well as what mode you have it in, and then if you want to lock it out of a higher gear because you're going down a mountain, you could do that as well. Leveling controls are all going to be here, as well as manually dumping. That was how we emptied out the airbags. Or you can control the hydraulic leveling from here if you need to manually do it from there. The last things that we'll cover are a couple controls on this driver's seat. We can only see 2/3 of them really. In them you'll have some haptic feedback, so if you're touching the lanes on the other ones, the seat will vibrate, so you kind of know what's going on, even if you can't fully see it outside. Down below you'll have electrical controls for the seat, the foot recliner, some lumbar support, as well as the back support, so you're not having to manually tilt it back. The heated seat controls are on this side as well, so you have low and high and off. And then the control for turning the seat around so it's a captain's chair, and the headrest are going to be on the other side. And you can do all of that with both of these seats, so it's very comfortable. But that's going to be pretty much it for this Mountain Aire. My name is Justin. We're here at Transwest Truck Trailer RV. If you have any questions about Newmar or any of the other Newmars we have in the lot, feel free to contact me. My cell phone's 404-936-6215, or if you prefer email, justin.rogers@transwest.com. Have a good one.